All right, then we'll get started. So good morning, everybody. My name's Sam Cobley. I'm the marketing manager for Open Reality. We're Weblib's distributor in the UK, and it's great to see you at another Weblib session. Dean and Assad from Weblib are going to be taking you through the presentation today, which is focusing on smart cities and the challenges that poses. But before we get started, just to remind everybody that the session is being recorded. We'll make a recording available following the session, so don't feel like you need to take copious notes. You can have that recording sent to you. And if you do have any questions, please put them in the Q&A panel, and we'll answer them towards the end of the session. So yeah, I hope you enjoy. Dean, Assad, thank you very much for joining us. I'll hand it over to you to take us through.
Thank you very much, Sam. Hello, everyone. My name's Dean Jones. I have responsibility for the UK and Ireland at Weblib. I'm joined today by Assad Munir. Assad will probably make his introductions when he takes over the presentation a little later on. But he is a pre-sales technical consultant for Weblib based in the UK as well. And today we're spending a little time, as Sam said, talking to you a little bit about digital transformation with a particular emphasis on smart cities. I apologise for the slightly creaky chair. If you can hear a slightly creaky chair in the background, apologies for that. That is me. And I will also just be asking Assad to move through each slide as we progress through the presentation and demonstration. So Assad, would you kindly move on to the next one? Thank you. So for those of you who are aware of Weblib, well, thank you very much for being aware. For those who aren't aware of Weblib, we are an organisation based in France, offering, as it says here, the opportunity for providers of networks, so companies who own networks, organizations who own networks, to create an end-to-end experience for their users, whether those users are within or guests of that organization. And it means that we are able to support the organization providing the network. We're able to support them in their digital transformation to ensure that their customers get, or their customers or their users, whether they again are employees or whether they are guests of any form, the ability to use the services, the facilities of the organization as much as possible. So if you could move on to the next slide, please, Assad. What we effectively do through integration with a Wi-Fi network is we provide an opportunity for an individual to connect to the network using their own device or a corporately held device. We then offer the opportunity for the organization to collect information about that particular user, and we then move from the user being an anonymized user into an individual, and then we are able to offer them a personal element of engagement. That means that we are either able to serve particular applications or particular access to elements of the network, but more and more with parts of our portfolio, we are able to offer particular platforms that ensure that we're able to offer services over and above those standard services that would be offered by captive portal solutions. The important thing is Weblib, as an organization, as I say, based in France, but has customers across the globe. The organization has been in existence for some considerable time. Weblib for a number of years, many years, UCOPIA as a separate organization for many more years. UCOPIA was acquired by Weblib around about 3 years ago. And it means that we have a portfolio within Weblib that ensures that we are able to offer connection, collection, engagement services for a whole host of customers, whether they are small single-sited or whether they are large global multi-sited organizations with very large estates. Could you move on to the next slide? Is that okay, Asad? Thank you. So this just gives you some idea of the customer references we have. The reason that we have chosen some of these to show to you today are that we believe that they are a good example of how we operate both within large public places, so smart cities, but we also have considerable experience across a wide range of sectors, something that an awful lot of organizations would expect. And it means that we have been able to build up a plethora of knowledge about what really is required in the real world for an awful lot of these organizations. Could you move on to the next slide, please? Thank you. So as I said, global organizations. So we operate in approximately 80 countries. We have around 7 million users of the solution or the solutions within the portfolio per month. And then if we look at our appliance-based solution, which is part of the UCOPIA range, we have around 20,000 of those appliances deployed throughout the globe again. Could you move on to the next slide, please? So what are we able to provide? We're able to provide, as I've said earlier, the ability to expand your digital offer as an organization. And if you are a partner, to ensure that you are able to offer support your profitable, very profitable business, but support to your customers as they move through their own digitalization journey. We are able to increase the productivity and efficiency both of the customer's organization, the customer's employees, but also the way in which their products and services are delivered to their guest users, whether those users are fans, visitors, travelers, whatever it may be. We also offer an excellent way of being able to glean information about each individual user, to recognize that customer on any return visit, to provide appropriate analysis to the organization. And within doing that, we are a very powerful provider of information to ongoing CRM engagement processes that may already be in place with the organization. We operate within our captive portal as again a very powerful platform if we are looking at increasing customer loyalty and satisfaction by offering particular apps or whatever adverts for either the organization or for the business partners of that organization. And we offer the opportunity for surveys and customer satisfaction surveys and polls to take place using an individual's own device. So we believe that effectively with the solution, we are able to move or help support the move for an organization from providing an element of service to an organization within their physical space, but an entirely separate engagement process in the digital space. So we're able to bring those two together, and as such, we're able to strengthen that position and expand the digital offer. So can you move to the next slide, please, Asad? So when I talk about that, just very, very briefly, we just wanted to talk about the evolution of digital marketing, because there are an awful lot of organizations that are appreciating that every single contact they have with an individual needs to be used as efficiently as possible, and wherever possible, if they are providing information or marketing to that individual, they want to move from a position where they're advertising to the point where they're publishing information. And the only way they can be publishing that information is if they have sufficient information to know that their target audience is indeed the audience they have for any information they're providing. And we believe that through provision of our solution within a particular space, we are able to support the movement of an organization from being an advertiser to being a publisher. If you can move to the next slide, if that's okay. So we are able to offer this concept of a conversion rate to a particular audience of 100%, which is extremely important for an awful lot of organizations to know that they are having the right eyes on the right information. Could you move to the next slide, please, Asad? So we always say that people absolutely want Wi-Fi access. They want it always, everywhere, and on any device they're using. They also, in an awful lot of instances, want it to be free, or at least traded in some way. Information for free access, free secure access, in a GDPR compliant way to the internet. And those providers of that network needs to see really more and more that their Wi-Fi can be a major business opportunity, or an opportunity to engage on an individual basis with each of their users, regardless of the profile of that particular user. Could you move to the next slide? Is that okay? Thank you. So we are really moving from the business to business or business to consumer element within, you know, connections and use and conversations, to a wholly human to human connection through the use of a majority of our portfolio. Could you move to the next slide, please, Asad? So in our experience, and I just wanted to dwell on this for a very short period of time, there are, if we're offering again digital marketing or the opportunity for support of digital marketing to our customers, and we find that this works very, very well within smart cities as well as large public venues and transport. It is the idea of incentivizing your users to connect to the network is the first rule, to ensure that once they are connected, they are receiving information that is appropriate for them as an individual. So the experience is paramount. So to be able to offer appropriate services, appropriate information at the right point within the network, or within their period of time within your estate, is very important, or within the customer's estate is very important. Also, the idea of being able to acquire new users through opt-ins, to ensure that terms and conditions and the information that you are gleaning, the information that you are providing, is all provided in a GDPR compliant way, is extremely important. And we have methods of ensuring that opt-ins are promoted as much as possible, and those opt-ins are indeed appropriate for the individual and for the organization. We then talk a little about, once you have that information, if you want to continue the conversation when you're outside of the estate, when you've moved on from either the smart city or the large public venue as an individual, the organization, either the smart city, the tourist board, or the transport network of that smart city, or the stadium or convention center, whatever it may be, needs to ensure that they can keep in touch with you. So there's this movement from physical to the digital, the entirely digital space. We are able to facilitate that by providing appropriate information for that onward conversation to take place. And then really the final part is for the organization to ensure that they are able to create an entirely bespoke experience for an individual user, whether that is by gender, whether that is by age, whether it's by interest, whatever it may be, to ensure that the information that's provided is compelling enough to ensure that engagement takes place. Could you move to the next slide, please? Thank you. And at this point, now that I've just provided a brief introduction about what we do, generally, I'd just like to hand over to Asad, who will talk in a little more detail about our portfolio. And during those presentations, I will speak about the how they are appropriate to smart cities. So Asad, may I hand over to you now?
Yeah, thank you, Dean. Hi, everyone. Excited to be here. My name is Asad Munir, and I work as a technical pre-sales consultant for Weblib. I come from a technical background, having worked in various different technical roles over the past 11, 12 years, network security, cloud, Wi-Fi, so all sorts of stuff, basically. And yeah, today I'll just continue this presentation, and yeah, I'll start with our ambition. So as you all listening here would know, that digital transformation and digital revolution is innovating the way we do stuff like travel, shop, work. So we decided to be part of that revolution by building solutions that change the way business works in cities for the better. And this is our mission, which is to design digital solutions to help our customers operate more efficiently, and as a result, help them grow their revenue. Okay. So Weblib, our ecosystem. This is what our platform looks like today. All of those solutions here at the bottom and the users here at the top. And users currently have to take several hops through separate modules within our platform to get to the destination, if that makes sense. So we've got a platform which consists of several different modules, and they are isolated. The good news is that we have already started works on consolidating all of that into a single platform. So like I said, the works have already begun to consolidate all of these solutions into a single centralized platform, which is fully built in cloud. It will be a centralized platform for all of the solutions, all of these solutions here at the bottom. Apologies. Access to the full analytics data through single dashboard, because it will be fully built in cloud, so we can move the entire platform, so like a lift and shift from one to another if need be. So that's the beauty of being in the cloud. It will offer all of the other additional marketing services, which we can get into more detail later on, maybe. But it will also be good for business values, because it will cut down their cost and be more productive. And obviously, the fact that it's in cloud, so all of these services, all of our portfolio solutions here at the bottom, we are also moving to the cloud, so less reliant on hardware. Everything's fully built in cloud. Okay, so our product portfolio consists of 5 solutions now. UCOPIA Cloud. UCOPIA provides a density and capacity-rich service for mobile users to connect to public and private Wi-Fi networks simply and securely. And UCOPIA Cloud, again, the same thing. The difference between the two are the architectural differences. Obviously, UCOPIA Cloud fully based in the cloud, whereas UCOPIA, it's hosted on-site, either in the form of a VM or a hardware. Smart Wi-Fi is a powerful tool and a solution which enables our customers to connect and engage with their customers and basically just get to know them better. With Smart Wi-Fi, you can have full control of your Wi-Fi hotspot to promote your products and services. Tab Install is a very easy to use, secure, and remotely managed MDM solution for clients and employees. It is fully GDPR compliant and enables you to remotely modify your corporate settings, settings like applications, wallpapers, standby times, and send out customized messages. Lastly, Smile In offers, it's a new solution of ours within our portfolio. It offers a new experience to our customers or your users by allowing them to order and pay directly from their smartphones. And I'll talk about each of these in a little bit more detail as we go along. So we first focus on UCOPIA. Like I mentioned before, UCOPIA solution provides a high density service for mobile users to connect to public or private Wi-Fi, guest Wi-Fi networks, and it provides access to Wi-Fi marketing that makes it possible for customers to identify and engage with their users. UCOPIA integrates with customers' LAN Wi-Fi networks to glean data and pass it through to any endpoints, basically. And when we talk about security, we take security very seriously because we know weak security leads to revenue loss, bad reputation, and those sorts of things. So we use radius authentication certificates with TLS inspection, intercept, and other advanced encryption standards. So you can also configure some firewall-like features, for example, URL filtering, port control, so standard ACLs. So it's an additional layer of security on top of your existing. When we talk about concurrent user sessions, UCOPIA comes in different shapes and sizes. The biggest box is capable of 50,000 concurrent sessions, and you can have up to 4 nodes in a HA cluster, which equates to 200,000 concurrent user sessions at one time. And we've got a number of our, or at least one that I can think of, Disneyland Paris, for example, who use this solution in a HA cluster. Architecture, there are several different architectures for UCOPIA. The most 2 common ones are inline and out of band. Inline is where we deploy, or the UCOPIA is deployed inline. So all of the internet bound traffic from your users or from your environment flows through the UCOPIA controller. And whereas for out of band, the UCOPIA controller does not intercept any internet bound traffic. It sits out of band, but all of the other traffic, like for example authentication, the captive portal assignment, the configuration, that sort of stuff, is that type of traffic is all diverted to UCOPIA. Any other traffic out through the local internet connection, not touching the UCOPIA controller. Okay. UCOPIA philosophy. So when, for example, we've got a user here at the top, when a user connects to the SSID, they choose the authentication method. Now, depending on the authentication method chosen, the user will get assigned a profile. The profile will be configured according to the type of users that connect to it. And I'll show you all of this in a second, by the way. So everything that you see on this screen, I will show you that in a demonstration. I'll show you what a profile looks like. But each zone can have up to, or can have more than one subnet, and each zone can be linked to multiple rooms in a hotel, for example. And each room on the floor can have its own visual portal or captive portal. UCOPIA does not recognize SSIDs. It only knows subnets and VLANs, and I'll show you that in a second. I think the next slide. Yeah, so after this slide, I'll go on to the demo. Just an example of a stadium, for example. Here you see 3 different groups of people, users. So you've got VIPs, visitors, and stadium staff. Now you might choose to have 3 separate captive portals for each of these groups of people, 3 different types of profiles, which means 3 different access rights. So, for example, visitors might have a limited bandwidth. So there might be a limitation on bandwidth. There might be URL filtering limitation and other stuff. Whereas VIPs, unlimited access to internet and that sort of stuff. So you can control all of that through UCOPIA controller, through its profile, which I'm about to show you in a second. Before I start the demo, I just want to show you all a network diagram as part of the scenario. Here you see 3 different SSIDs or networks connected to an AP, which connects to the UCOPIA and then connection out to the internet through the router or firewall. It's a simple diagram, nothing too technical. I will share my other screens. Dean or Sam, could you just confirm for me if you can now see a different screen of the UCOPIA?
Yeah, I can confirm that. Yeah,
you can. Thank you. Okay, so just as part of the demonstration, these are the 3 incoming networks which I showed you: VIP, guest, corporate, or they named something else on the network diagram, I understand. So here you can see they map to different IP addresses, different VLANs, and obviously consequently the IP addressing. And the profiles which I talked about earlier, obviously the 3 different groups of people, the 3 different profiles. So if we have a look at guest, for example, so this is the profile for guest. The first thing at the top here is where you have the access rights to control what type of traffic or what type of services you want allowed or not allowed. Validity, here you can see you can control at what time of the day, what time of the week, year, month you want this profile active, and when you want that disabled. Next, moving on, zones is where we map or connect this profile to the 3 incoming networks which I showed you earlier. So obviously we had 3 different incoming networks: guest, corporate, and VIP. Here, as you can see, because this is a guest profile, we are mapping this profile to the guest zone. You can do that here. Recognition, there are a few other settings here. Web traffic is something I really wanted to talk about. This is, as I mentioned previously, is an additional layer of security, or shall we say URL filtering. So this is the URL filtering for UCOPIA that we offer. As you can see, there are a number of categories here that can be chosen from and added to this list here. And then from this list, you can either allow or deny these categories. And you also have a default rule for allow or deny here as well. You can add in more categories, customized categories as well. For that, you'll have to work with us. And another side note, just to mention, all of these categories are updated on regular basis. We work with University of Toulouse as our partner, and they have the responsibility of keeping all of these categories up to date, and they push out or send us the regular updates, and we consequently push out the updates to all the controllers around the world. And then every time a new update is required on them, that new update on these categories are also imported onto these controllers as part of the update. Password policies, bandwidth limitations. Here you can control the bandwidth you set per user, per quota as well, and you can set a threshold. So for example, if a user from this user group exceeds their bandwidth, for example 2 gig, if that's set, then they'll get some more bandwidth, maybe whatever you set here, and then eventually an action would be taken to disconnect them because they have exceeded. And then we have other advanced settings here at the bottom here as well. Next, as part of this demonstration, I just wanted to show you a couple more things. First of all, the portals. So under customization portals, here we have the different portals. Now you can customize your own portal and import them onto UCOPIA, and they'll look like this here. So all of these are the ones that I've added, for example, just examples. And then we also can associate all of these visual portals that you see here with the different zones or the different types of profiles, should I say, the different types of groups, user groups. So for example, I just wanted to show City of Paris, if we have a look at that. This is what the captive portal or the visual portal of City of Paris, something that I've customized would look like. And you can customize this according to your requirements, how you want it. For example, you can have a background image. For the connect with, you can add any social media login, so Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, that sort of stuff. And with that, what happens is if the user, for example, decides to log in with Facebook or Twitter or any other social media, all they have to do is just click on that. And if they are already logged into any of those social media platforms on their mobile phones, they will not need to type in any other credentials. They will log in simply just by clicking on any of these social media accounts, or log in using username or password. We have various other, we can control the languages. We can add a number of different languages here. And other stuff, logos, you can change all of that. Most importantly, since we're talking about smart cities, here is where you can add promotional products or services as part of cities. For example, what to do in Paris, and by clicking on this tab here, it will redirect you to the website or the link associated with this, and vice versa for all of this. For example, tourist information is a very useful information that you might want to add for that. And then terms and conditions can be set and configured by yourself. So yeah, that's just one of the examples. Like I said, there are a number of others that I could show you, but I won't, because just looking at the time, we have to keep things moving. So the most important thing is you can customize that yourself anyhow you like. Lastly, on UCOPIA demo here, what I wanted to show you, because this is a demonstration, unfortunately, I don't have any current user data. But basically here you can see the different types of logs, and all of these different logs you can these are your logs. These are logs from your users, your data. You should have full control of that. That's why we offer a service where you can redirect or push out all of these logs from the controller to any third-party endpoints of your choosing. You might want to send them to an external CRM application to integrate with that and look at that. So you can do all of that through here, all the different types of logs you can add. Okay, and that's basically the demo. So if we just move on with the presentation, UCOPIA Cloud. UCOPIA Cloud is a solution which is new as part of our portfolio. All of the features included in UCOPIA Cloud and UCOPIA are exactly the same. The only difference is the architectural sides of it. Now, the differences are UCOPIA is on-premise service, so you can have that in hardware compliance, and have that sitting inline or out of band on premise or in the form of a VM. Whereas with cloud UCOPIA or UCOPIA Cloud, this is a fully cloud-based service, so therefore your UCOPIA is hosted in the cloud. It's fully built, it's hosted in our cloud platform, and we will build a virtual link or virtual tunnel in the form of site-to-site VPN back to your layer 3 device on premise, and all of the UCOPIA traffic would be redirected over this IPsec tunnel or site-to-site VPN, and any other traffic, for example, any internet-bound traffic would be going out through the local internet breakout connection. A unique, so this is, like I mentioned already, it's a fully software as application service, therefore it's scalable, very easy to deploy, and as you would know, to deploy or spin up anything in the cloud is a lot easier compared to doing it on premise and having the full management of it. You can access that from anywhere in the world, so you can access that from anywhere because it's built in clients. It's fully GDPR compliant. It abides to all of the regulatory laws and data privacy laws. You have the full secure access to your platform, and the user experience is enhanced with UCOPIA Cloud. You can customize your own portals exactly how you want to configure them, and basically do anything you like with it. You can even get a third party to customize your captive portal, and you can import it onto UCOPIA Cloud. Architecture, this is what the architecture looks like, what I've just explained. UCOPIA is sitting here in the cloud. You form a site-to-site VPN back to the site's layer 3 firewall, or a firewall or a router, and basically, and the LAN side, that doesn't change. That remains the same. Dean, over to you.
Thank you, Asad. And just to reiterate, the solution, the UCOPIA solution, we have available, as Asad said, as an appliance-based solution that can be on-premise, physical or virtual. There are a variety of architectures. We can also have cloud-based, but the most important thing, I suppose, is that this is wholly vendor agnostic. So it works with any vendor, or any vendor will work with it. A very important point. We're not limited by the number of Wi-Fi manufacturers we would work with. Indeed, this works just as well within a wired as well as a wireless environment, although the majority of the time it's a wireless environment. As we said, the UCOPIA market, as we see it, the market for the UCOPIA part of our portfolio, there are various sectors. They are shown on the left-hand side of this particular slide. And we have a number of clients that would sit within that. We have already mentioned to you what we are doing with Paris, and Paris is an interesting example. We provide the solution for Paris to ensure that not only are individuals, tourists, able to have access to information that's appropriate to where they are within Paris, but we also provide seamless links for the individual to purchase, to access, and to then have access to the internet within major museums as well. And from a partner and a customer perspective, it means that budgets can be increased beyond those budgets that are usually associated purely with infrastructure projects. We are able very much through the use of the UCOPIA or the Weblib portfolio generally to have worthwhile conversations with the marketing and commercial side of businesses to ensure we understand exactly what is required and our partners understand what is required. And then in a lot of instances, we find that the idea of being able to link up interested parties who would have separate networks and separate budgets is available, and that's a major consideration within smart cities. So we're not simply looking at providing tourist information, we're providing information for some of the attractions, some of the venues within Paris, as well as travel information and such. An example of where we would also work in travel more generally would be with SNCF, being able to provide the access for travellers across the whole of the French rail network, whether it be within the stations or on the trains. Again, very important. And then the seamless handover of things, of services at particular destinations are that much easier. Could you move on to the next slide, please? So specifically with connected cities, we find that an awful lot of organisations, cities, places are looking at services to provide to either their citizens or visitors, travellers and visitors. And we believe that we are able to offer such a solution for them, and to provide appropriate information and services, as well as integration with existing networks, both for the city itself and also for its attractions. That's an important consideration. And I suppose the very important consideration here is being able to do that under considerable load. As Asad mentioned earlier, we are able to provide tens of thousands of simultaneous connections in a highly robust solution, something that would be absolutely required by any customer, but connected cities in particular. So as it says on this slide, there are a series of needs. I think I've covered most of those, but it principally is about being able to provide appropriate connectivity for a user, and to provide appropriate services for that user once they are connected. Could we move on to the next slide, please? Over to you, Asad.
Cheers. Yeah, smart Wi-Fi. Smart Wi-Fi is our fully cloud-based Wi-Fi solution that helps our customers learn and engage with their clients. Using this solution, you can connect department stores, fashion retails, corporate enterprises, and other retail and hospitality venues, like Dean would mention in a second. Smart Wi-Fi can be used for small, single-site, medium, or multi-site, medium-type businesses. This solution is not limited to retail and hospitality only, by the way, just wanted to mention. It can be used in any sector, and at the moment there are a number of our customers who use this solution in various sectors. It allows you to capture all sorts of data, for example, users' email address, phone numbers, nationality, etc. And you can use that data to promote your products and services. Of course, this solution is fully GDPR compliant. Therefore, we do need the user to opt in and basically authorize that information that they want to share with us. And the users will be prompted with an opt-in option to authorize, like I said, in order for you to use their data. And you can also customize your terms and conditions on the profile before they tick box that. Authentication, we use a number of ways for authentication: various authentication, social media, SMS, and sponsoring. Advertising, our platform provides you the ability to market your products and services to each and every user or user group. Okay. Control Tower is our cloud interface and platform which is used to manage and control your appliances, hardware or virtual. Control tower is mostly predominantly used for smart Wi-Fi and tab install, which I'll talk about in a second, and Smile-in, and will in future be also used for UCOPIA Cloud. And we are redesigning the entire portal. This dashboard for Control Tower, we are modernizing it, and it will look a lot cooler than it does now. It does still look cool because you can see the different stats on that sort of stuff. It looks quite cool. So yeah, through Control Tower you can find out how many customers return to your retail stores, for example, their age range, gender, nationalities. You can track Wi-Fi usage, top users and connections. Most importantly, you can download all of this data and export it to any endpoints applications such as CRM. We can also offload all of this data to your chosen endpoints using public APIs. And that's something we are already working on, and we are testing, and it's working. And we already started deploying this feature for a number of our clients because I know it's really useful for a number of our clients. The data dashboard displays a lot of other information, stats, which can be really useful, and users can also connect through their social media accounts, not having to register by completing a form. Back to you, Dean.
Thanks, Asad. I think we just wanted to mention smart Wi-Fi. It's not necessarily what we would be promoting within a smart city deployment, but it is indeed a very important part of our portfolio. As you can see, we work with a number of retail and hospitality organizations, but it has a much wider market, but I think that's sufficient for this particular conversation. Over to you, Asad.
Thank you. Yeah, tab install, another one of our solutions. Tab install is a very easy to use, secure, and remotely managed MDM solution, which I've mentioned already in the past for your clients and employees. You can completely organize and administer your entire fleet of tablets remotely. The control and management of these tablets is done via Control Tower, which I just showed you. And the tab install is like I said, it's a powerful MDM solution, and some of its features include, for example, content management with drag and drop through Control Tower. You can use Control Tower to drag and drop different types of applications here and there. Real-time device monitoring, push notifications to the fleet of your tablets, send notifications via URL links, and all these notifications are stored in history in case you might want to review them later. Lastly, the tablet can be configured so that it is wiped clean after every use. For example, if it's being used in a bank or that sort of stuff. Sorry, I got to move to the side. Samsung Knox. So we have industry recognition by Samsung to use Samsung Knox, which is their security platform, to use as part of our solution to provide that extra layer of security to the fleet of tablets. As part of this MDM solution, we have deployed the Knox security solution to thousands of our tablets currently in use by different customers. With this extra layer of security, we are able to provide remote administration access to the administrators, security to administrators, and control of these tablets. And over to you again, Dean.
Thanks very much, Asad. The reason that we wanted to include this particular part of the portfolio was to give you a comprehensive overview of what we are about, but also to talk a little about how we can provide appropriate information to employees as well as visitors or users of the connected city network. We find that there are an awful lot of organizations where tablets are deployed, and it's a very good method of keeping employees and indeed individuals, users, visitors, travelers, whatever, up to date with information. So the idea of being able to ensure you're deploying this fleet of tablets in a highly secure manner is important. The example we would have there would be Heathrow. So the idea of being able to provide information to travelers, but ensure that each time the traveler has left or finished using the device, everything is wiped clean before the next user. But at the same time, being able to use those tablets by employees and to ensure that appropriate information is available for the employees, either health and safety information, updates on particular elements of their particular role, but also having access to information that may be of interest to visitors, travelers, tourists, whatever that may be. So there's a balance really between offering something via Tab in Store for customer-facing tablets as well as employee-use tablets. And to be able to offer that in a highly secure environment is very, very attractive to organizations, especially in a connected city deployment. Could you move to the next slide, please? So, and the next slide, please. So I've already mentioned SNCF. So we have within transport, we have a number of customers and a number of examples of how various elements are being used. We've already spoken about that. Could you move to the next slide, please? And then again, I think Disneyland Paris has been mentioned already by Asad, but there are a number of events, convention centres, conference centres, and large public venues where we are providing this particular solution under considerable load. So could you move to the next slide, please? And the next slide. And now we're finally appreciating that we only have a very short amount of time left. We were going to, and I think in the interest of time, I will just spend just a short while talking about this, Asad, if that's okay. At the very beginning of the presentation, we spoke about the idea of connection, collection of information and provision of that information to the organization, about customers, about users, and then engagement. We also said that services could be of interest. We have a very interesting new part of our portfolio, which is called Smiling, and it's an order and pay system. All ordering takes place from bespoke menus, and it ensures that an organization can offer out their menu of products and services, whether they are a venue, a museum, a gallery, whatever it may be, or whether they are a transport node, whether they're a station, whatever it may be, as well as straightforward cafes, bars, restaurants, being able to offer a menu of products and services with the ability for the user to have access to that, to pay for it in a PCI compliant way, so wholly secure, wholly PCI compliant way, and then to take that particular order and to be able to integrate that within the existing customer's ordering system is something that Smiling offers. And we believe more and more the ability to offer these additional services to organizations or groups of organizations is going to be extremely important, especially when we are looking at the connected city. So in the interest of time, if there's anyone who has any more, if they want to receive more information about Smiling, be very happy to run through that. But I appreciate we only have a couple of minutes left. And within that, I'd just like to thank you very much for spending some time with us. Thank Asad very much for taking us through the portfolio and how it applies in connected cities. And if I can hand back to Sam, if there are any questions at this point, perhaps we can very quickly address any questions that they have.
We have got a couple of quick questions. Thank you both. So UCOPIA is on-premise and in the cloud. Does it offer private controller servers like Unify and TP-Link Armada? Great question for Asad.
I can answer that. So it does not. So for example, Unify, it allows the management of multiple wireless networks. It does not do that. So UCOPIA is slightly different. So it takes in the different VLANs or different networks from the APs connected to it and passes them on for authentication, for configuration, and be assigned captive portals to the users for the different user groups, if that makes sense. I hope that clarifies that question.
Thank you. Is the functionality between your cloud and on-premise version the same?
Functionality and features, they are exactly identical. The only difference comes for when the architectural sides of it. So it's just that same. Obviously, with cloud, we don't have inline or out of band. It's just one architecture. You copy sitting in the cloud. Whereas with on-premise, you can have it inline or out of band.
Perfect. That brings us to 12 o'clock. So managed to squeeze a couple of quick questions in there. As you've already said, Dean, thank you very much to Asad for the demonstration and the presentation. Thank you very much, Dean, for your input as well. Thank you to everybody for attending. It's been great to see you. Somebody from the Open Reality Wireless team will be in touch with you shortly to get some feedback and check that there's anything else you need. But obviously, if you want something in the meantime, then please do get in touch with us. We'd be happy to set up a one-on-one demo to go into anything in more detail. Obviously, we're happy to have commercial discussions as well in terms of pricing and all the rest of it. So, yeah, that just leaves me to say I hope everybody has a good lunch and has a great week.
Thanks all.
Thanks all. Bye-bye.
Thank you.